And this goes back to the thing about Trump, where I told you on CNN, all they did for an hour and a fucking half was talk about Russia. And it's like, I'm sitting there going, I just covered a story on my show last week about how the head of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is a guy named Mick Mulvaney. He took over $50,000 from the predatory payday loan industry. Donald Trump at his inauguration took over $1 million from the predatory payday loan industry. They just scrapped the rules that were supposed to clean up that industry. And now they're letting them charge 950% interest. You want the fucking conspiracy? There it is right there. And you're not talking about it.
No. Putin.
It's Russia. He's a fucking Manchurian candidate and loud noises and he curses a lot and fucking Stormy Daniels. I don't give a fuck about any of that. Talk about the shit that matters.
I care about Stormy. No. I do wonder what's going to happen with the indictments. I do wonder. Because people are pleading guilty now and, you know, the concern is that it's going to trickle.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Is Donald Trump a corrupt businessman? Fuck yes. Anybody who says he's not has no fucking idea what this guy's been into. There's evidence he did deals with the mafia. He has a hotel in Panama, which was laundering drug money. So do I think he's a criminal? Yes. Do I think he did money laundering? Yes. Would it be good if Mueller somehow got him on these things? Of course it would be. But the idea that he's a Manchurian candidate or he did treason is so ridiculous that it makes me, a guy who's massively anti-Trump, scoff and get really angry when people try to push that narrative. And here's the thing. It's an open legal question as to whether or not you can indict a sitting president. Usually what has to happen is you have to impeach a sitting president. Well, right now, Congress is overwhelmingly Republican. You know who's not going to fucking impeach Donald Trump, even if they prove the worst-case scenario that he's some sort of Manchurian candidate? The Republicans are not going to fucking impeach him. So at the end of the day, when the Democrats focus on this ad nauseum, the reason they're doing that is because it's something that they feel comfortable and safe talking about because they don't have to talk about Medicare for all or free college or a living wage or getting the corporate money out of politics or ending the fucking wars, which they also support. So they're not talking about real issues and they're focusing on the fake scandal and sensationalism because they think it'll score them cheap points with the electorate, and it won't. And they think there's an end game here, and there's not.
But there is something there, right? I mean, if
he laundered money.
But if people are getting indicted with this Russia thing.
So I'll break that down. Paul Manafort is one of the people who got indicted.
Right.
Super duper corrupt, laundering money. Michael Flynn, same thing.
Laundering money, how so?
So in the case, I know more of the details about Flynn. So Flynn is a guy, he got, what's his face? Mueller went after Flynn, and it was proven that Flynn took $500,000 from the Turkish government, and in return for that, he pushed the Trump administration to not arm the Kurds who are fighting ISIS. And the reason why is because Turkey hates the Kurds, and they don't want us to arm the Kurds. So in other words, Michael Flynn was doing the bidding of the Turkish government and pushing their influence in our government, and he didn't register as a foreign agent in the process. So, exactly. So he's doing the bidding of the Turkish government and not disclosing that, and you have to register as a foreign agent if you're going to take that money and you're going to do that.
And this doesn't run down to Trump.
Well, that's the open question as to whether or not at some point along the way, whether it's with Russia or with other countries, by the way, nobody talks about the fact that Trump registered 8 new businesses in Saudi Arabia when he was on the campaign trail, and then he just gave them over a $100 billion weapons deal. He also took $270,000 from top Saudi officials at his hotel when he was president-elect. And then again, he gave him over a $100 billion weapons deal. The case of Israel, Jared Kushner has, millions of dollars from Israeli banks. And then lo and behold, when Donald Trump was president-elect, they tried to push the UN to not condemn Israel over their illegal settlements. So you have his entire administration is just a grab bag of corruption and foreign influence. But it's foreign influence across the board, and it's influence also from corporations. But again, people are not focusing on the corporations, and they're not focusing on the other countries that they're corrupt with because they're hyper-focusing on the Russia thing. And at the end of the day, they want to impeach Trump over Russia. But like I said, it's going to be hard to prove, and then it's an open question if you can indict. I don't think you can indict a sitting president. You have to impeach. They're not going to fucking impeach. So really, this is Democrats sniffing their own farts and acting like they're doing something important when they're really not. And the only there, in my opinion, is money laundering. He's a corrupt businessman, but he's not some sort of Putin puppet because he's actually done many policies that are against Putin. So, for example, he armed Ukrainian rebels who are fighting Russia right now. You don't arm people who are fighting Russia if you're their fucking puppet. You know, he also is bombing Syria, and we're staying indefinitely in Syria. They just announced that recently. You don't the Syrian government, that's one of Putin's top allies. You're not going to permanently occupy their country and try to fight that government if you're in bed. They're doing a NATO buildup on Russia's border right now. So if you're Putin's puppet, you don't have a military buildup on his border. There was just a story the other day about how now the U.S., our military, is sending our ships to the Black Sea, right on Russia's fucking border. So it's military escalation. And that's another part of this that pisses me off, is that if the Democrats really wanted to resist Trump, resist that. Say, I don't want to send our fucking military to get into a standoff with Russia. I don't want to bomb fucking Syria and permanently occupy it. This is how the Democrats should be resisting. They should be resisting Trump from a left-wing position and from an anti-interventionist position. But instead, everything you hear from the Democrats is, he's under Putin's thumb and he needs to make sure that he's even harder on Putin and he does more sanctions against Putin and he escalates further with Russia. Listen, man, they're a nuclear-armed power. Do you want to fucking get into a confrontation with a nuclear-armed power? We're sitting here living our lives, just going about our business. And this is crazy. We're rolling the dice and we're playing a game of chicken with Vladimir Putin.
Do you think that they're just caught up in this sexy thing?
Yes, a lot of it is sensationalism bias.
It's also what the public is really focused on right now, so it's something that gathers ratings?
I think they're driving it. I think it's driven from the top down, from the establishment media down, from the Democrats down. Because again, if you talk to regular people, they're fucking hurting.
Right.
Wages have been stagnant since 1980. There's 30 million people that don't have health care. In Trump's first year in office, 3 million more people lost health care because he did all these executive orders that basically took a hatchet to Obamacare. So you have all these people who are really hurting. They care about their wages. They care about, not being saddled with over $1 trillion in student loan debt. This is the shit regular people care about. So when they turn on CNN and they see Russia, 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 even if you don't like Trump, I despise Trump with every fiber of my fucking being, but when I see this, I roll my fucking eyes. And then they have the nerve to say, oh, Trump won't shut up about Russia. You were talking about it all day, and he responded to it, and because he responds to it, you're like, oh, there he goes again with Russia.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I'm really fascinated, and I'm fascinated to see if he can make it out of 4 years.
Well, I think he's going to...
Do you think he's going to run again?
I think he's going to run again, and...
Think he's going to win again?
He has a chance.
He does.
He has a fucking chance, because if the Democrats run Kamala Harris, if they run Cory Booker or any of the other corporatists, he can win, because he's going to go right back into his tap dance about being a populist and helping people, and guess what? In the first few years of his tax bill, regular people did get a tax cut. So he's going to say, look at your tax bill. I just gave you, extra $1,000 this year. Who you want to vote for? And so there is an argument that he's going to make to the people. And if you don't have somebody like Bernie Sanders or Bernie Sanders talking about the issues that matter to people, well, then of course he can fucking win again. Listen, I was laughed at when I said if it's Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, he can win. People laughed at me.